It's going to be a fun reveal to tell you what the primary was.
It's going to be a fun reveal to tell you what the honey was.
This homebrewing challenge features two stylistically different mead makers. They will swap this mead at every step of the process with no information to go on. This is Mead Swap.
Mead Swap 4.
Now, we've already had a debacle, and this is my fault. We normally like to do a primary bottle, secondary bottle, and a finale bottle, or have the big finale. Someone grabbed the wrong bottle, thinking it was the primary bottle. So, we don't have the primary bottle.
That's fine.
But
I can tell you what it tasted like when he gave it to me, is it tasted like cherry juice. And it kind of didn't taste fermented.
Oh.
Like, there was no alcohol burn, there was no fermentation funk, it just tasted like a jug of cherry juice. I was kind of confused by it. But I remember it was really high gravity. You had started out super high.
Yes, that was interesting. All right, so we will get to the origins of this mystery in a moment. This is coming out of secondary. So you gave it to me after primary, and then you did something, and then this is what we're drinking now. Whatever you did after the primary.
This, I believe, smells more familiar.
Yes, that was not right. Yes.
Woo!
There's some tartness to this.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of, I didn't check pH on this. I don't know if you did, but it does have some acidity, some. Yeah.
Quite a bit of tartness.
There is a lot of fruitiness though, and there is a cherry side you get. You know, I understand where you're saying the cherry kind of.
This is a bit unbalanced.
Yeah. It's pretty.
There's
yummy.
like potential there, but it really puckers you up.
So after that, you gave this
I'll get back to you.
to me, and I recall the same things. It was tart, and so I was like, what do I do with it? So I did some things, and we have this right here.
Excellent.
I can open that.
LFG. This series has been an interesting exercise.
I like it. I like it a lot. I think that's one of my, when we get around to it.
Did you cork a screw top bottle?
Yeah, dude. Reuse, recycle.
Something like that. Whoa. The aromatic profile is totally different.
What's different about it though?
It's softer.
Definitely less tart. There's a lot of brightness on the nose.
Like you don't get that big punch of, for lack of a better term, acidity.
Yeah.
It's hard to describe it. I mean, this one almost smells like you've cut open a citrus fruit and you're smelling it. This one's a lot softer. There's still a little bit of alcohol in the nose.
Yeah.
There's some kind of vanilla or vanillins in there. The softness on the nose is reflected on the palate.
It is. That to me is way more. I mean, it's getting you. This it still gets you a little bit, but it's like a gentle.
It reminds me at Mead Stampede we had a key lime pie mead.
Oh yeah.
Remember it was like lime and vanilla and kind of bready. It's got elements of that kind of balance of like a citrus dessert.
Yeah.
Without the big acid punch that one delivers. The sweetness feels a little bit better balanced in this iteration. I would almost want it just a little bit sweeter than it is.
Really? Okay.
The tannin profile is nice on it. It's not too much, it's not too little. I'm not tasting like wood. I'm not getting a lot of astringency. It's just a nice kind of clingy grip that
it washes well. I think it's brought back juiciness to this. Which I feel like was, I don't know, kind of lost over time.
This is a good drinking mead right here. It's not bad.
Well, should we go backwards in time?
So let's rewind. So the honey I gave you for this project.
I have no idea, by the way. I was going to say, well, let me guess, no idea.
So the honey I gave you was about 40% honey. The other 60% was blue agave syrup.
Okay, interesting.
So before I gave it to you, I mixed them all up And then I had this problem where the honey kept trying to crystallize at the bottom.
You're
So
like-
I kept having to shake it up. And so like the night I gave it to you, I was like furiously shaking it and warming it, trying to get it to become like more homogeneous so you wouldn't clue
I
in.
think I used it pretty fast, so it didn't. I would have been like, why is this separating?
Yeah. Yeah, it kept, because I mixed it up and then it was like weeks before I could give it to you.
Right.
Like, every time I would check it, it was like the honey was at the bottom
That's
and the agave was at the top.
Yeah, I don't recall that, so I must have used it pretty fast.
Yeah. And so that was it. It was, I think it was orange blossom honey. It was like not, or maybe it was like wildflower. It was just a innocuous honey,
Yeah.
but it was mostly agave syrup. And I was curious to see if you could get it to go dry or if it gave you any trouble fermenting. Because agave, I have had a lot of trouble getting to go dry.
The yeast choice was not a good.
So this was never going to go dry, period.
This was never going to go dry. And this was, I kind of forgot. I used the Philly sour yeast to start. And so I kicked it up to 11:30 and I was like, yeah, this will have some residual sweetness. And then I was like, wait, oh yeah, Philly goes to like 11 or like maybe 12. Like
yeah,
peak.
it's lower. It's on the
And
lower side.
so-
Because it's beer yeast.
Right, and so I started it with the starting everything was 23 ounces of black currant wine base, half a gallon of apple juice, 2 pounds of your whatever honey / thing,
Yeah.
and then I filled water up to the gallon.
So that's where I'm picking up that sensation of cherry.
Yes.
Is I've got the black currants and that juicy apple juice. Okay.
Yeah, and we had the Philly sour yeast, and then
Interesting.
so I realized pretty quick, well, this is not going to ferment out. But I realized Philly sour's intentionally going to make the sour, so sweetness will help. And so when it cut at like 10:50, I was like, that's fine. It tasted pretty okay out of the primary. It was still sweet, but the tartness was combated pretty well.
Yeah.
So I gave it to you then.
You gave it to me, and I tasted it, and I swore that it was just cherry juice. That you had like punked me by just bringing over a jug of cherry juice with an airlock on top
Come
of
with
it.
the Aldi cherry, black cherry juice.
And so I pitched this actually on a live stream
Yeah.
one night. I said, Garrett, if you're watching, tune out right now because we're going to talk about Mead Swap 4. And I told them it tastes like cherry juice, and I asked them what would you do with it, and they pitched me a ton of different ideas, and I went with one, which was to do a cherry limeade riff.
Okay.
So I used both fresh lime zest and one cracked black lime and some fresh lime juice to give it a big, like, holistically limey sense of lime. And I had to, I didn't have black limes at that point, so I had to, I had my dehydrator out to do one lime so I could do this. But I thought it turned out really nice. However, the acid profile was totally unbalanced on it.
Yeah.
But I presumed that was all your problem.
I definitely noticed the acid balance, which is hence why I made the choice to do two things. I said, one, I think some sweetness would help. So I back sweetened with, I can't remember how much honey. It's somewhere on the screen right now. And the kind of honey. I back sweetened with that, and I oaked it for roughly about 3 or 4 weeks.
Okay.
Threw in some
What kind of oak?
Chips, some actually, I think I did medium or dark toast oak. I did, I think it was about half an ounce.
Okay.
It wasn't a lot. I didn't want it to be an oaked mead.
Well, I think you did that really well because I'm not tasting any oak in here. I'm
just wanted-
getting those vanillins.
And I've said this a lot, and I find it to be more true over time, is oak can sometimes help round out things. And I felt like this had a lot of jagged edges. And so sweetness kind of helped round out some of the jagged edges of tartness. But then the oak also kind of said, hey, here we go. Let's kind of bring this in.
Kind of put a blanket around.
Yeah, and so I only oaked it for maybe 3 or 4 weeks, and then took that off, bottled it, and brought it. And I was pleased with the taste of it at that point. I thought it combated the acidity, which was the biggest thing the whole time, is that Philly sour is intended to bring out those things, and it did. And then especially, bringing lime
But throwing
into
citric acid on top of it.
Yeah.
No, I think this turned out really well balanced. I think the choice of oak was smart, and I think that not letting it go too long was really well executed. because again, it's got that softness and that good vanillin structure, but you're not picking up like wood or char or any of that. So it was like the perfect amount of oak exposure for the right amount of time. I really don't know, other than maybe adding a little bit more sweetness, I don't know that there's a lot I would change about it. I think it's well executed.
Can you believe adding more sweetness to a 1038 mead?
You know, my mind has been changed a lot over the last couple of years about residual sweetness and back sweetening sweetness, but here we are. Here we are. Well, thank you for watching. You can obviously check out his channel. You probably already do, but if not, that information will be in the description. Just search for Made Mead, and of course, you know how to follow us here. Join the Discord, etc., etc., etc. Subscribe to both channels. You can do that by clicking subscribe buttons. It's really easy. You know how YouTube works.
I don't have to tell you YouTube.
Give me a crash course on YouTube. And until next time, I don't have a glass anymore.
I
so
don't either. Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh man.